In this video, we'll be talking about setting up your font settings for your website. So to get started, we'll go to the design settings and it'll take you to this initial site style page here, where at the top we see your color palette and then here we see your type styles, both for mobile and for desktop. So if we want to go ahead and change these, if we were to look at the title style for desktop and go to change the font, you see the only options we have available are the ones that came with the template and some just generic ones down here. So we will need to add your own fonts to your website in order for them to show up in this list to set them as your type styles. To do that, we'll come over to Fonts tab at the top. And at the top section here, we have a lot of Google fonts to choose from. So if you click at this drop down, these are all Google fonts, and these are free for you to use on your website. But if you would like to actually browse through them, you can just click on this Google Fonts button, and you can actually look through the different font options and select ones that work best for you. If you do decide on one that you'd like to add, what you'll need to do is go ahead and click on that font and hit Download Family. And that'll download as a zip file, where then you can open that up and see all the different fonts in there. However, with Showit, you don't need to upload them here because you already have the Google fonts at your disposal. So downloading them is only going to help if you want to have them on your computer to be able to upload to Canva or use in Word documents or other things like that on your desktop. So let's say you have a font that you downloaded from Creative Market or Font Spring or another font foundry that you'd like to upload into your website to use. So this is more something if you were to have paid for a font that is specific to your brand. I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. But as far as choosing fonts for your website or for your branding, if you don't already have them set up, I do have a blog post talking all about how to choose fonts for your salon brand or your brand in general. So you can follow through this little cheat sheet to learn how to choose fonts for your brand. I also have some font inspiration that you can steal for your brand as well. And I'm going to go ahead and use this first one as the fonts for this website as we begin to edit out the fonts and make them your own. So for the title font, we have this Razha 1 regular. Now, I already know that this is a Google font, so I know we will be able to find it in this font list when going to design settings. So we'll look for the Razha. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Let's see. It looks like it's right here. And that's the normal is only option. So we'll hit add Google font. Now let's go back and see what our next one is. Enter light. So we'll go back here. It looks like we already have that one active in our account. Next one is enter semi-bold. We already have that one as well. And enter light for a paragraph. And yeah, we already have that one. It's the same one as before. Then it looks like we have this specialty font called Autography. So we're gonna I'm just gonna copy that and post it into a Google search with Creative Market. Let's do font Creative Market. Actually, there's a purchase here link right in here. So what you would need to do here is download. I already have this license, but let's see if we can add another license. You can see the different options here. If you want to be able to use this in Canva or on your computer, you will need to download a desktop license. And then for your website, you will need the web font license. So you would need to purchase both of them in order to use them appropriately in all spaces. So once you're ready to download this, just select your estimated amount of page views per month. And then by that font, you'll have an option then to download it and you'll get that zip file. Inside the zip file, you will have what's called a WOFF file. So it'll just be like .WOFF at the end is what the file name would look like. And what you'll need to do is upload that to your media library. So if we go to our media library on the top left, then we hit upload files, then we'll search for that Autography font. And we'll go to web fonts and then select whichever one you will end up wanting to use. Just looking for the regular one. So autographyregular.woff. So we'll open that one. So now it's in our media library. So if we come back here to design settings, we will select that new font from down here under custom fonts. We'll see this drop down. You'll only probably have one in here. I have a bunch, but we'll select that one and then give it a name. Autography. I'll do autography regular if you were to ever add some other versions. And then as long as you've bought that license at the place that you purchased it, you can select that checkbox, hit add custom font, and now it's over here under your active fonts to be able to use on your website. So we'll hit save, and now we can go in and actually set up the design settings down here, the type styles for the website, so that all across your website your fonts will follow the same pattern. That is this new pattern that's unique to you instead of what's already pre-installed in here. So we'll first enter our Roz Hub 1 normal. That looks good. We'll change it on mobile as well. That's really going to transform the look of your site. Next, we'll do the heading font, and looks like in our blog post reference here, looks like it's Interlight is the one we want to use. Which is already the one that's set up in here, so that's not going to change too much. Enter semi-bold is what's in here next. That's not going to change too much either, but I think what I want to do is I'm going to decrease the size of this a tad, and I'm going to increase the letter spacing, and feel free to make changes like this on your own based on what looks good or works best for your branding. So we'll save that. And then Interlight, I think, is our last one. So not changing a ton here, but just playing with things as needed to make them your own. So once we have those all in there, we'll go ahead and hit save, and we'll see how that really changes with our new font in here. So like here we see how that's now that thicker like serif style font with the tails on the edges of the letters. But sometimes it looks like it's really starting to overlap over things in ways that it's not supposed to. So what I'm thinking we need to do is decrease the size of that font. Looks like it's more a problem on desktop than it is on mobile. So instead of changing each text box individually, it's important that we do change it in your site settings so that you only have to do it once and you don't have to do it a bunch of times. So I just decreased that by about 5 or 6 points, and let's see how that is helping out here. Looks like Eleanor Lake now ends up on one line. This text here is still overlapping a smidge, so let's go back and decrease it even more to 45. We'll see how that looks. Still is overlapping that text. So you know what, actually, I think this I have adjusted anyway, so you may need to just bump that down a little bit individually. So that looks good, and you might just need to do that on all pages where we have that larger text at the very top of the page, is just adjust that text up there. Like on here, it's not making any problems. Here it isn't either. So most pages you should be okay, but if you do need to adjust that text slightly, you sure can by clicking into that canvas and adjusting the size on that individual text box. But here you'll see really just how changing your text, changing your colors can really start transforming the template a little bit, and you'll see that continue to happen as you keep editing your design.